The Varnak were a species defined by their pursuit of clarity and efficiency. Their culture revolved around precise communication and practical problem-solving, with little room for abstract or emotional expression. To the Varnak, language was a tool for transmitting information, nothing more, nothing less. When the Varnak made first contact with humanity, they were intrigued by Earth's technological advancements and cooperative spirit. However, they were utterly perplexed by humanity's fascination with art and poetry in particular. To the Varnak, poetry was a baffling construct, a use of language that seemingly prioritized ambiguity over clarity. Among the human delegation was Dr. Maya Calderon, a linguist and poet who had been invited to share Earth's literary traditions with the Varnak. Maya was thrilled by the opportunity but quickly realized the depth of the challenge. During an early exchange, a Varnak scientist named Carrick analyzed a classic haiku with visible frustration. "This arrangement of words is inefficient," Carrick declared, their tone tinged with exasperation. "It obscures meaning rather than revealing it. Why would your species value such a practice?" Maya smiled, sensing an opportunity to bridge the cultural divide. "Poetry isn't just about conveying information," she explained. "It's about evoking emotion, capturing the essence of a moment, and exploring perspectives that words alone can't fully express. It's a way to connect on a deeper level." Carrick remained skeptical but agreed to observe Maya's poetry workshop, which was part of a larger cultural exchange program. The workshop, held aboard a neutral space station, drew a mixed audience of humans and Varnak. Maya began by sharing simple poems from various Earth traditions, hoping to spark interest and understanding. At first, the Varnak participants reacted with confusion. They struggled to grasp the metaphors and symbolism, often interpreting the poems in literal terms. However, Carrick, driven by curiosity, continued to analyze the works, seeking patterns and meanings that aligned with the Varnak worldview. The turning point came when Maya introduced haiku, a form of Japanese poetry known for its brevity and emphasis on nature. She recited a haiku by Matsuo Basho, "An old silent pond, a frog jumps into the pond, splash, silence again." To Maya's surprise, Carrick was captivated. Though the meaning of the haiku remained elusive, its structure and simplicity resonated with the Varnak preference for precision. Carrick began asking questions about the imagery and the emotions it evoked, gradually opening their mind to the idea that poetry could convey something beyond logic. Meanwhile, tensions between humanity and the Varnak escalated over a territorial dispute involving a mineral-rich asteroid belt. Diplomatic negotiations stalled as both sides struggled to find common ground. The Varnak, frustrated by what they perceived as humanity's imprecise communication, accused the delegation of deception. The humans, in turn, found the Varnak's rigid approach alienating. Amid the rising hostility, Maya proposed an unconventional solution, a poetry exchange. She suggested that each side compose a poem to express their perspective on the conflict, hoping to foster understanding through creativity. The proposal was met with skepticism but ultimately approved as a last-ditch effort to prevent war. Maya collaborated with the human delegation to craft a haiku that reflected their desire for peace and cooperation. "Boundless stars above, unity in their shimmer, hope in every light." When the haiku was presented to the Varnak Council, it elicited a range of reactions. While some dismissed it as frivolous, others, including Carrick, saw value in its simplicity and symbolism. Carrick, inspired by the challenge, composed a response in the Varnak's rigid linguistic style, adapting the haiku structure: silent asteroids, potential in still orbits, harmony or war. The exchange marked a turning point in the negotiations. The act of creating and sharing poetry forced both sides to consider the conflict from new perspectives, fostering empathy and mutual respect. For the first time, the Varnak began to see value in humanity's emotional and artistic expression. As the negotiations resumed, the tone shifted. Both sides approached the discussions with greater openness and willingness to compromise. Ultimately, they reached an agreement to establish the asteroid belt as a jointly managed resource zone, paving the way for future collaboration. For Maya, the experience was a validation of her belief in the power of art to transcend barriers. "Poetry isn't just words on a page," she said during a press conference. "It's a bridge, a way to connect hearts and minds across even the widest divides." Back on Earth, the story of how a haiku halted hostilities captured the public's imagination. Poetry workshops flourished, and interstellar poetry exchanges became a popular form of cultural diplomacy. The Varnak, once dismissive of art, began exploring their own poetic traditions, blending their precise linguistic style with the emotional depth they had discovered through humanity. For Carrick, the journey was deeply personal. Reflecting on their role in the negotiations, they said, "Poetry taught me that meaning is not always found in clarity. Sometimes, it is in in the spaces between words, in the silence that speaks, that we find the truths that unite us. Under the vast expanse of the cosmos, where words danced like stars in the void, the legacy of a single haiku lived on, a testament to the power of creativity, the courage to embrace the unfamiliar, and the connections that bind us all. The story of the poetry exchange quickly became a symbol of what was possible when two cultures sought to understand rather than conquer. Yet, the journey to mutual respect was far from over. As humanity and the Varnak navigated their newfound alliance, they encountered challenges that tested their willingness to collaborate. On the asteroid belt, now named the Harmony Zone, teams of humans and Varnak worked together to extract resources while preserving the delicate balance of its environment. The Varnak, meticulous in their approach, often clashed with human engineers who valued adaptability and improvisation. Misunderstandings arose and tensions flared. Maya, seeing an opportunity to use poetry as a tool for mediation, proposed a new initiative, the Asteroid Poetry Project. She encouraged team members from both sides to document their experiences and perspectives through poetry, believing that the creative process could help them appreciate one another's viewpoints. At first, participation was limited. Many Varnak viewed the project as a distraction, while some humans were hesitant to share personal reflections. However, Carrick, now an advocate for artistic expression, became a vocal supporter of the initiative. They shared a poem of their own, capturing the beauty and challenges of the asteroid belt. Silent fragments drift, echoes of a cosmic past, purpose in their path. Carrick's willingness to embrace vulnerability inspired others to follow suit. Soon, the project gained momentum, with poems posted in shared workspaces and read aloud during team gatherings. The act of creating and sharing poetry fostered a sense of camaraderie, breaking down barriers and humanizing the collaborators. Meanwhile, Maya's efforts to promote cultural exchange extended beyond the asteroid belt. She organized a series of interstellar poetry festivals, inviting participants from diverse civilizations to share their literary traditions. The first festival, held on a lush planet known as Alaris, featured performances, workshops, and panel discussions that explored the many forms and functions of poetry. At the festival, Maya met representatives from the Kalan, a species whose culture revolved around musical narratives. The Kalan songs, rich with emotion and history, resonated deeply with both humans and Varnak. Inspired by their performances, Maya collaborated with Kalan artists to create a hybrid art form that blended spoken word with melody, resulting in a new genre called lyrical verses. Back on the Harmony Zone, the Asteroid Poetry Project yielded unexpected benefits. Poems reflecting the challenges of resource extraction led to innovations in technology and procedures. One Varnak poem, which described the strain placed on the asteroid belt's fragile ecosystem, inspired a human engineer to design a more sustainable mining system. The invention, later named the EcoSync extractor, became a cornerstone of interstellar resource management. Despite these successes, the Alliance faced opposition from traditionalists on both sides. A faction of Varnak, known as the Purists, argued that the influence of human culture threatened their identity. On Earth, critics questioned the value of investing resources in artistic exchanges when pressing domestic issues remained unresolved. Maya and Carrick, determined to address these concerns, co-authored a joint statement emphasizing the importance of creativity in fostering innovation and unity. "Art is not a luxury," they wrote. "It is a catalyst for growth, a mirror that reflects our shared humanity or shared essence, as it may be." Their words, accompanied by a series of collaborative poems, struck a chord with many. Public support for the alliance grew, and the purists' influence waned. The experience reaffirmed Maya and Carrick's belief in the transformative power of poetry. As the years passed, the legacy of the haiku that halted hostilities continued to grow. Interstellar poetry exchanges became a staple of diplomacy, and the Harmony Zone thrived as a model of cooperation. For Maya, Carrick, and all who had contributed to this journey, it was a testament to what could be achieved when words were used not as weapons but as bridges. Under the endless stars, where silence held its own poetry, the bond between humanity and the Varnak endured, a reminder that even the simplest verse could inspire profound change. As the Harmony Zone became a symbol of interstellar collaboration, it also became a magnet for cultural exchanges. Scientists, artists, and diplomats from neighboring civilizations visited the zone to witness its success and contribute their perspectives. Among them were the Zenthari, a nomadic species known for their visual storytelling, and the Kranura, whose poetry was embedded in intricate light patterns. The arrival of these new participants added richness to the Asteroid Poetry Project. The Zenthari introduced visual poems that combined words with vivid holographic images, while the Kranura demonstrated how light could evoke emotion in ways words alone could not. These innovations inspired human and Varnak Varnak poets to experiment with new forms, resulting in a creative renaissance that extended far beyond the zone. For Maya, the collaboration was a dream realized. She spent her days facilitating workshops and curating anthologies that captured the diversity of poetic expression. One of her most ambitious projects was the Galactic Verse, a compilation of poems contributed by representatives from every species involved in the Harmony Zone. The anthology, published as both a book and an interactive hologram, became a galactic bestseller. Meanwhile, Carrick's role as a cultural bridge continued to evolve. They were invited to speak at the Interstellar Coalition's annual summit, where they shared their journey from skepticism to advocacy. During their keynote address, Carrick recited the haiku that had first sparked their appreciation for poetry: silent asteroids, potential in still orbits, harmony or war. The recitation, delivered with quiet conviction, moved many in the audience to tears. Carrick's words became a rallying cry for those who believed in the power of creativity to resolve conflict and inspire unity. Despite these successes, challenges persisted. The Harmony Zone faced a new threat in the form of a mysterious environmental imbalance that began to disrupt the asteroid belt stability. Initial investigations revealed that the imbalance was caused by an unforeseen interaction between mining activities and the belt's gravitational fields. The crisis threatened to undo years of progress as tensions between humans and Varnak resurfaced. Some blamed the other side for negligence, while others called for an immediate halt to all operations. Maya and Carrick, determined to prevent a return to hostility, proposed an emergency poetry summit to address the issue. The summit, held in Harmony Hall, brought together poets, scientists, and leaders from multiple civilizations. Participants were invited to share poems that captured the fragility and resilience of the natural world. Maya opened the event with a new haiku, Spiraling Fragments, a dance of chaos and grace, life within the void. The poems shared during the summit not only highlighted the beauty of the asteroid belt, but also inspired innovative solutions. One Kranura poem, which described the gravitational dance of celestial bodies, sparked a breakthrough in understanding the interactions at play. The resulting research led to the development of a stabilization system that restored balance to the belt. The resolution of the crisis reinforced the value of the Asteroid Poetry Project and the broader alliance it represented. For Maya and Carrick, it was a reaffirmation of their belief that creativity and collaboration could overcome even the most daunting challenges. As the Harmony Zone entered a new era of stability and growth, its influence continued to spread. Poetry became a staple of interstellar diplomacy, with verses exchanged alongside treaties and agreements. Schools across the galaxy incorporated poetry into their curricula, teaching young minds to see the world through the lens of imagination and empathy. For Maya, the journey was deeply fulfilling. Reflecting on the impact of her work, she said, "Poetry is not just an art form. It's a way of seeing, a way of connecting. It reminds us that no matter how vast the universe, we are all part of the same story." For Carrick, the transformation was equally profound. They became a mentor to young Varnak poets, guiding them as they explored the intersections of logic and emotion. In one of their final public addresses, Carrick shared a new poem that encapsulated their journey. Through silence, a spark, words unspoken find their place. Unity through verse. Under the infinite expanse of the cosmos, where stars shimmered like poems in the sky, the legacy of the Harmony Zone endured, a timeless reminder of the power of creativity, the courage to bridge divides, and the connections that unite us all. As the Harmony Zone flourished, its reputation as a center of innovation and collaboration attracted attention from unexpected quarters. A delegation from the enigmatic Thalassian Consortium arrived, bringing with them a tradition of water poetry, a form of verse that used rippling patterns on liquid surfaces to convey meaning. The Thalassians' participation added yet another dimension to the Asteroid Poetry Project, inspiring participants to think beyond words and embrace the visual and tactile aspects of expression. Maya, fascinated by the Thalassians' approach, collaborated with them to create an interspecies performance titled Echoes in the Abyss. The piece combined water poetry, holography, and spoken word to depict the story of a star system's rise and fall. The performance, held in Harmony Hall, was attended by delegates from across the galaxy and received standing ovations for its emotional depth and artistic brilliance. Meanwhile, Carrick found themselves grappling with a new challenge, leading the Harmony Zone's first poetry diplomacy mission. A neighboring civilization, the Torqueri, had expressed interest in joining the alliance but remained wary of humanity's influence. The Torqueri, known for their stoic and reserved nature, valued action over words and viewed poetry with skepticism. Determined to bridge the gap, Carrick composed a series of poems that emphasized themes of resilience, cooperation, and shared destiny. One poem, titled Stone and Stream, resonated particularly deeply with the Torqueri carry delegation. Unyielding stone waits, the stream carves its path gently. Together, they shape. The poem's imagery, which reflected the Torquary worldview, opened the door to meaningful dialogue. Over the course of the mission, Carrick's efforts helped establish trust and mutual respect, culminating in the Torquary's decision to join the Harmony Zone. The experience solidified Carrick's reputation as a master of poetry diplomacy and underscored the transformative power of creative expression. Back in the Harmony Zone, the Asteroid Poetry Project evolved into a permanent institution known as the Cosmic Verse Institute. The institute became a hub for research, education, and performance, attracting poets, scientists, and artists from every corner of the galaxy. Its annual Cosmic Verse Festival became one of the most anticipated events in interstellar culture, showcasing the best and brightest in poetic innovation. One of the festival's highlights was the debut of Stellar Sonnet Symphony, a collaboration between human composers, Zenthari visual poets, and Kranura light artists. The piece combined music, imagery, and verse to tell the story of a supernova's life cycle. Its breathtaking beauty brought audiences to tears and reinforced the idea that poetry could transcend language and speak directly to the soul. Despite the Harmony Zone's achievements, challenges continued to arise. A resurgence of purist sentiment on Varnak Prime threatened to undermine the alliance, as critics argued that the cultural exchange had eroded traditional values. Maya and Carrick, ever the advocates for unity, responded by organizing a galaxy-wide campaign titled Threads of the Cosmos. The campaign invited individuals from all civilizations to share their stories and poems, weaving them into a massive virtual tapestry that symbolized the interconnectedness of all life. The project garnered unprecedented participation, with billions of submissions ranging from simple haikus to epic narratives. The completed tapestry, displayed at the Cosmic Verse Institute, became a symbol of hope and resilience in the face of division. For Maya, the campaign was a career-defining moment. Reflecting on its success, she said, "The threads of the cosmos reminded us that no matter where we come from or how we see the world, we are all part of the same story. And that story is worth celebrating." For Carrick, the experience was equally profound. In their final address as the Harmony Zone's cultural ambassador, they shared a poem that encapsulated their journey. "Through discord, we weave threads of meaning, strong and bright, a tapestry whole. Under the boundless expanse of the universe, where creativity and connection intertwined, the Harmony Zone continued to shine as a beacon of what was possible when imagination and collaboration came together. Its legacy endured, inspiring generations to see the world not just as it was, but as it could be. As the Cosmic Verse Institute entered its second decade, it launched a bold new initiative, the Stellar Voyage Project. The project sought to bring poetry to the farthest reaches of the galaxy, connecting even the most isolated civilizations through shared stories and artistic expression. Maya and Carrick, now seasoned leaders, were chosen to oversee its first mission. The mission, named Whispers of the Void, aimed to engage with the enigmatic Zorathii, a species shrouded in mystery, known for their reclusive nature and cryptic language. Initial contact had been made, but communication was limited, and many believed that the Zorathii would remain an enigma. Undeterred, Maya and Carrick devised a plan to use poetry as a means of building trust. They collaborated to create a multilingual collection of poems that reflected universal themes of solitude, connection, and hope. The centerpiece of their offering was a haiku written jointly by Maya and Carrick. "Silent shadows drift, echoes of a distant star, voices find their home." The journey to the Zorathii homeworld was fraught with uncertainty, but upon arrival, the team was met with cautious curiosity. The Zorathii, whose communication relied on bioluminescent displays, initially seemed hesitant to engage. However, when the haiku was presented, its simplicity and resonance sparked a reaction. The Zorathii responded with their own luminous pattern, which Maya and Carrick interpreted as a poetic reply. Over the course of weeks, the exchange deepened. The Zorathii shared stories of their history and culture, expressed through intricate light patterns that Maya and Carrick documented and studied. In return, the team introduced the Zorathii to the broader galactic community, facilitating connections that had once seemed impossible. Back in the Harmony Zone, the success of the Stellar Voyage Project was celebrated as a milestone in interstellar diplomacy. The exchange with the Zorathii became a symbol of how creativity could transcend even the most profound barriers, uniting civilizations in shared understanding. As the Cosmic Verse Institute expanded its reach, it faced new challenges, including the rise of factions that sought to exploit the Harmony Zone's resources for political gain. Maya and Carrick, ever the champions of collaboration, worked tirelessly to ensure that the zone remained a space of mutual respect and innovation. In their final years as leaders, Maya and Carrick Carrick co-authored a memoir titled Verses of the Infinite, chronicling their journey and the lessons they had learned. The book became a cornerstone of interstellar education, inspiring countless individuals to see the universe through the lens of creativity and connection. During the grand opening of the Stellar Nexus, a new hub for cultural exchange and exploration, Maya and Carrick were honored with a statue that depicted them side by side, holding a scroll inscribed with their haiku. Silent shadows drift, echoes of a distant star, voices find their home. The unveiling ceremony was attended by representatives from every civilization involved in the Harmony Zone, as well as thousands of students, artists, and dreamers who had been inspired by Maya and Carrick's work. As the crowd stood in silence, the stars above seemed to shimmer in acknowledgement of the moment. For Maya, the journey had been one of discovery and fulfillment. "Poetry is the voice of the universe," she said in her closing address. "It reminds us that even in the vastness of the cosmos, we are never truly alone." For Carrick, the experience was transformative. "Through poetry, I found meaning in the spaces between words," they reflected. "It taught me that understanding is not about clarity. It's about connection. Under the infinite expanse of the cosmos, where words and light intertwined, the legacy of the Harmony Zone and its poetry endured, a timeless reminder of the power of imagination, resilience, and the courage to reach for the stars." As the stars continued to shine over the Harmony Zone, its influence grew into a legacy that would shape generations to come. The Cosmic Verse Institute, once a humble experiment, became the heart of interstellar culture. Its programs expanded to include not only poetry but also other forms of artistic expression, from sculpture and music to holographic storytelling. One of the most ambitious projects was the creation of the Interstellar Tapestry, a living archive that wove together contributions from every participating civilization. The tapestry, displayed as a three-dimensional hologram, allowed viewers to experience the interconnectedness of the galaxy through a blend of light, sound, and verse. It became a symbol of unity, inspiring millions to contribute their stories and ideas. Maya, now retired from her role as director of the Cosmic Verse Institute, devoted her remaining years to mentoring young poets and storytellers. She often reflected on the journey that had brought her to this point, marveling at how a single haiku had sparked a movement that transcended borders and barriers. One of her last public appearances was at the unveiling of the tapestry's final section, a segment dedicated to the founders of the Harmony Zone. Maya and Carrick's contributions were immortalized in the tapestry, alongside the voices of countless others who had shared their dreams and experiences. During the ceremony, Maya shared a final haiku, written to encapsulate the journey of the Harmony Zone. "Through the endless void, threads of light and word endure. Together, we shine." The audience, moved by her words, erupted into applause, their voices echoing across the stars. For Maya, it was a moment of profound fulfillment, a testament to the power of creativity to shape the universe. For Carrick, the journey was equally transformative. As they reflected on their role in the Harmony Zone, they felt a deep sense of pride and gratitude. "We began with words," they said during the ceremony, "but what we built was far greater, a galaxy united by the threads of imagination and hope. Under the infinite expanse of the cosmos, where dreams and stories intertwined, the legacy of the Harmony Zone endured, a timeless reminder that through creativity, resilience, and connection, even the most profound divides could be bridged. And as long as there were voices to tell the tale and hearts to listen, the light of the Harmony Zone would never fade." Centuries later, as new civilizations joined the galactic community, they learned of the Harmony Zone and its poetic beginnings. Travelers would recite the haiku that had halted hostilities, finding solace in its simple yet profound message. And as they gazed at the stars, they carried with them the knowledge that even in the vastness of the universe, connection was always possible, woven through the timeless threads of poetry, hope, and unity.